I have hit max level and max item level in Blue Protocol for some time now. I've put in hundreds of hours into the game already on the Japanese server, Japanese launch, and well, I feel like I've got a pretty good understanding of the current state of the game. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys an honest review, the good, the bad, and everything in between. A lot of you guys have been watching my previous honest review video, which was for the beta test, and this game certainly has come a long ways since then. So hopefully this updated video will give you guys enough information to know exactly what you're getting yourself into when it comes to Blue Protocol. If you guys enjoy the content, all I ask is for you to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And of course, come hang out with me on Twitch. I'm streaming this game a lot. First, let's start this off by giving you a general overview of the game. Now, I'm not going to waste your time here by going into detail on the obvious things you already know, like how it's an anime MMO from Bandai and that it looks great graphically. Instead, I'm going to get straight into the core of the game. In Blue Protocol, you only need one character, and that character has access to play any class at any time, much like Final Fantasy XIV. Each character will have its own level, so when you swap classes, you'll be back at level 1, assuming it's a class you've never played before. Your character will be in a world that isn't truly open. There are 4 major zones and 2 major cities that are all segmented from each other. Each zone has additional segmented areas within them, and some have additional dungeon-like areas that you can enter and free roam. Outside of the social and cosmetic content, the purpose of the game is to reach the max level of 50, then continue pushing your item level and power by farming things in the open world and in dungeons. Blue Protocol's main gameplay loop will have you farm monsters, dungeons, and gather resources like herbs and ore to complete your objectives and increase your item level and character's power. Whether or not you're at endgame or leveling to 50, the game will bounce you around in different areas doing just that. I want to emphasize that this is the main gameplay loop, and you'll be doing this a lot. The last thing I want to mention in the general overview is that the UI and the menus of this game feels a bit more in line with consoles, and I can even draw some comparisons to mobile. This 100% is a PC game and does not feel like a mobile one at all. However, the UI for Blue Protocol does feel a bit restrictive compared to the usual MMO experience. In Blue Protocol, you'll progress to the level cap of 50 via quests and adventure boards. Through these two things, you'll unlock recipes and mats to craft your gear. After collecting all the mats and recipes needed, you'll craft said gear piece, then move on to the next and repeat the process. Despite being categorically different, what you'll do to complete your quests and adventure boards is essentially the same. 99% of what you're tasked to do will be the following: kill a specific mob or mobs, including field bosses, collect an item that has a chance to drop from a mob, harvest a resource, ores, plants, and shells, collect an item that has a chance to drop when harvesting a resource, and completing a dungeon. As you level up, the requirements for each of these tasks begin to go up a bit, but not to the extent of requiring you to kill 500 mobs or anything. These tasks will have you bounce around the world, revisiting areas you've already been in. Surprisingly, despite the tasks being straightforward and seemingly boring, it's actually quite engaging and fun to do while leveling. Until around level 40, the experience you get while completing your tasks is enough for the journey to not feel like a grind. In other words, you never really feel like you have to grind levels until this point. You'll level up organically as you complete your tasks. I also want to mention that the progression process is not linear. You'll have a lot of different tasks to do at once, and the order in which you complete them, for the most part, is completely up to you. And no, you don't have to complete all of them. Having 20 different tasks available for you to do, whether it's from quests or your boards, is pretty much what it will feel like. This makes the journey to gearing your character and leveling up a lot more dynamic and less boring. If you're the type of person that needs to complete everything before moving on, this will be very difficult to put down. When it comes to the actual pacing of leveling, Blue Protocol is a bit on the slower side. However, it is certainly not too slow. You can easily hit max level within a week if you're putting in the hours, even faster if you're very efficient. Pacing also does not feel like it slows down in the later levels, as the experience you receive scales very well. After hitting level 39, the absolute best way to grind out the final levels would be to actually grind mobs in a specific area. This grind really does not take long though. It was taking only 15 to 20 minutes per level in the 40s for me, to put it into perspective. The only time it began to feel like a grind was when I was required to farm a specific dungeon over and over to craft my last couple of weapons, but even that wasn't terrible for my first time. When it comes to the harvesting of resources, these resources have set spawns and are on what seems to be about a 10-minute timer. This timer can be reset by simply porting back to town, and there are guaranteed rare drop harvest locations. You can't expect to run around a lot in the world trying to complete your tasks in relation to this. When it comes to the collecting or killing of mobs, this is a major area of concern for me. Even at the end game, a lot of the gameplay loop revolves around hunting mobs. Some of the areas and kill objectives have terrible density and will provide for an extremely poor experience if the servers are slammed. For example, right now you're seeing me hunt these creatures I call mook-mooks. This is the only area that actually spawns these creatures, and on top of that, there is a blue and brown version that share spawns and don't count towards each other's kill credit. In addition to this, remember some of these tasks require a rare drop from a specific mob, furthering the unpleasant experience when coupled by poor density. The current solution to this issue is to use the auto party finder, which will automatically place you in a party with those also searching within the area. This is actually an extremely important feature currently in the game. Overall, the devs did a fantastic job improving the board designs and drop rates from the previous beta test. The progression to 50, for the most part, is pretty enjoyable. Certainly a lot more enjoyable compared to the previous beta test. Some players may still feel like it's a bit grindy and tiresome due to the RNG of the rare drops, but overall I don't think it's too bad, and most of the people I've spoken to who have played or are playing on the JP servers also agree with this sentiment. How is the endgame in Blue Protocol? What do you do? First, you have the min-maxing of gear via imagines and weapons. The imagines that you can equip do have a random roll that you can get from them. Some can be really good, like this one for example, gives me 50 plus attack power. In order to get the roll you want, you'll have to refarm the mats, recraft, then hope you get the roll that you want. When it comes to the weapon, the same thing applies, only there are 2 additional layers. Specifically to crafting the weapon, you'll not only have a passive effect to it, but also a random number of sockets up to a maximum of 4. Outside of rare event items that allow you to add sockets to your gear, the only way to obtain a fully socketed weapon is to recraft a new one. When crafting, you'll have a chance to proc a great success, which gives 2 to 4 sockets and a higher passive effect roll. At a base, you're looking at a 25% chance for a great success, and from that great success, you're looking at another 35% chance to get a 4 socket, meaning roughly a total of about a 9% chance. Your goal is to craft a weapon that has 4 sockets and the highest passive roll. In addition to this, you'll have plugins. Plugins are essentially enchantments or gems you would add to your gear that give you additional power. These plugins go into the sockets of your gear and can randomly roll anywhere from a 1-star to 5-star. Within these grades, you also have a stat range. Ideally, you'd want to get a 5-star plugin that has the highest stat roll within that range. The gameplay loop that comes along with this is farming specific mobs and dungeons that drop the mat you're looking for. Most of your endgame farming will be for your weapon, and considering all weapons require the same mats, you can expect everyone to be farming the same 2 endgame dungeons and specific mob. Skills in Blue Protocol can also be upgraded at the endgame. Each skill has 2 variations to them and can be upgraded by consuming an item that's obtained by completing tasks in a class-specific adventure board. When it comes to dungeons, you have 4 different types. The first are the regular dungeons. These are the ones that give you mats for your weapon crafting along with experience in Luno, the in-game currency. Rush Battle, where you clear waves of monsters primarily for Luno and Union Paste, which is a mat related to weapon crafting. Rush Battle also has a monthly version which provides a currency that can be used to purchase special cosmetics. Tower, where you'll attempt to climb up to 30 floors for Luno and some nice first time clear rewards such as gacha pull coupons. And Time Attack, which is a competitive timed instance where you'll attempt to solo clear a dungeon as fast as possible and compete against other players, having a chance to be ranked. Overall, these dungeons, to be perfectly honest, aren't anything special. I wouldn't say they suck, but the mechanics to the fights are very standard, straightforward, and relatively easy. A lot of people were wondering if the endgame dungeons would be a different experience, and well, the last two dungeons you'll be farming at endgame are literally a copy pasta of the first two dungeons in the game, only scaled higher. Outside of the Time Attack, I wouldn't say these are dungeons you'd necessarily be excited to do on a day-to-day basis. Additionally, I feel the gameplay loop for vertical progression specifically isn't great at the end game right now. The dungeons are simply not fun enough for me to want to do over and over to upgrade my weapon. Right now, the social and life skill content isn't available yet, and because of this, the current endgame feels like it's lacking quite a bit. Outside of leveling alt classes and upgrading my skills, I really have nothing left to do in the game other than upgrade my weapon unless I'm pushing for Time Attack rankings, which is pretty damn fun, by the way. You also have the 30-man raids that are also pretty cool, especially with the raid rankings at the end. But unfortunately, this is a timed event and isn't something you can do at any time. However, it's important to know that this is a brand new game and we have nothing but content updates ahead of us on a monthly basis. As long as they are continuing to give us significant content updates on a monthly basis, I feel the current amount of content for a release is totally fine. Let's continue the endgame talk and bring up another topic everyone wants to know about, which is monetization. Here's the full breakdown. First, you have the gacha and BPP system. Gacha is, well, gacha, and BPP is a currency that you mainly obtain by selling unwanted select goods that you get from your gacha pulls, meaning everything in the cash shop is essentially gated by the gacha. You can get a little BPP in-game from your battle pass or things like login rewards, but you won't be getting much as of now, unless you're pulling from the banners. When it comes to the gacha, the main rewards are all cosmetic based. There are other rewards such as dyes, loot rate buffs, and great success chance enhancement tickets as well. The drop rates on the main cosmetics are pretty low with zero pity. You are guaranteed a special cosmetic for pulling 10 times on a banner, but you are not guaranteed the cosmetic you want unless you purchase it in the BPP store, selling back the sellable items you get. Selling back an S tier item will net you 2,500 BPP, with some of the higher level A tier items that will sell for 70 BPP. It will cost you 12,000 BPP to get the S tier cosmetic that you want. When it comes to the pulls, each 10 pull is about $50 Japanese. And yes, Japanese people have been frowning on the prices. As far as the paid cosmetics go, my thoughts are that it's extremely expensive. Realistically, it will take about 100 pulls to get one on average, an S tier cosmetic that is, which would cost you around $500 Japanese. I'll also say that it's kind of pointless to even pull now because all the cosmetics and the banners don't even look great, to be honest. The concerning part is that the free cosmetics also look pretty bad and lack options at the moment. It will be extremely discouraging if the gacha cosmetics in the future look great while the free ones continue to lack options and look poor, assuming we get the exact same monetization model and similar pricing. The Battle Pass is next on the list of monetization, and this one is pretty standard. You have a free track and a paid track. The free track is actually very underwhelming outside of a decent battle imagine you get from it and the future paid track currency that would allow you to purchase a paid battle pass in the future. The paid track contains a lot more goodies such as BPP and progression buffs, but the two standouts here would be the ability to purchase the next paid battle pass in full and a level 50 Battle Imagine. For those following the game, the biggest concern was the two paid Battle Imagines, which is essentially a piece of gear that has an activate skill on it. The reason this was a massive concern was because there are only two level 50 Battle Imagines in the game. One is from completing the paid Battle Pass, while the other is locked behind a whopping 2,500 BPP, 4,000 BPP realistically, since you have to buy the mats for an additional 1,500 BPP, since the 2,500 BPP is only for the recipe. The highest level Battle Imagine you can get in-game right now is level 45. So let's break this down. I went ahead and got both these Imagines so that I can showcase the difference. The BPP Imagine provides you a 25-second buff that gives you super armor and a slight increase in damage and movement. It also notably gives an extra 700 HP, which is around 30% of your max HP for a level 50 at max item level. The Battle Pass Imagine provides an activate that deals a decently sized AoE attack that hits pretty hard, along with debuffs on the target, making it take a bit more damage, lowers its ice resistance, and decreased movement speed. The animation to this is very slow, however. Keep in mind, you can only equip two Battle Imagines. With that, I have thoroughly tested both Imagines and have concluded, one, from a DPS perspective, both paid Imagines fall short of the current BIS Imagine, which is farmed in-game. 2, from a DPS perspective, the Battle Pass Imagine would situationally be second best. The increase in damage versus a free level 45 Imagine is minimal though. I would say it's just technically better. 3, from a DPS perspective, you can argue and prefer using two free level 45 Imagines over the paid Imagine due to the speed and hitbox. 4, the damage differential from a stat perspective is non-existent. Eye level is just padded by using the level 50 Imagines. 5, from a tanking perspective, specifically Blade Warden, the BPP Imagine is BIS. So what about the gear? What are these great success enhancement tickets that are purchasable? There are two things that can be seen as pay to progress with Blue Protocol when it comes to your gear, specifically your weapon. The first is the guaranteed third socket, and the second is a ticket that increases your chance at a great success. The guaranteed third socket is only usable for exactly that, the third socket of your gear, so it's only applicable if you have a 2-socket weapon. There are guaranteed 2-socket and 4-socket tickets in the game, but they are given out only via in-game events and are not currently locked behind a paywall. These items are also very rare. The fact that you want a 4-socket item with a great success roll on your passive effect very much devalues this guaranteed third socket item. No endgame player will really be going for this. The biggest benefit to having this item is for maybe an entry-level weapon that you'll use until you're able to craft a 4-socket. The increased great success ticket will increase your great success odds, increasing your 25% chance to a 32.5% chance for a great success when crafting your weapon. Things to consider here. 1, this is the hard cap to your weapon when it comes to sockets. 2, to craft another weapon, you'll need to finish 16 dungeons with no double loot and about an hour of farming. 3, you should get a 4-socket within 11 tries or so with no buffs. And 4, you can obtain a few great success tickets in-game for free as well. My personal take on this is that the only thing that can be considered pay to win here is the great success tickets, since you want a great success roll on your passive effect. However, being able to realistically craft a 4-socket, which is hard cap, as a free-to-play player in a relatively short period of time makes this a non-issue for me. Shifting gears now, I want to bring up the classes in combat. The classes in Blue Protocol are very straightforward and have clear roles. However, build diversity isn't really a thing. Classes are fun due to its engaging combat, but don't expect to play a specific class vastly different to how someone else would play it. There is a pretty high skill cap, however. Outside of recognizing attack patterns, classes actually come equipped with additional hidden attacks that most new players are not aware of. For example, hitting left mouse button, then A or D plus left mouse button would have me perform a spinning attack that deals increased damage and knocks enemies back. Left mouse button, then S plus left mouse button would have me perform a hilt attack, giving me a shield buff as well. Additionally, these attacks can be cancelled using dodge roll or jump, which also can chain into additional combos. Blade Wardens have the ability to deal solid AoE damage that CCs targets, binding them when using an aerial combo, for example. Learning these combinations can quickly increase your overall DPS significantly, keeping you very busy and engaged through all fights. Next, let's talk about the dev team and future updates. A solid dev team is extremely important to the health of the game. Blue Protocol's dev team so far has done a solid job. If you saw my previous Blue Protocol honest review video I made after the beta test, 90% of what I brought up in the video was addressed. This does give me some confidence moving forward, especially since they have been pretty vocal and transparent about their monthly roadmaps. I mean, we're already getting a brand new class within the first 2 months of release. I'm really hoping more improvements will be made to give us a more polished version of the game when we get it in the West. I want to add that my overall experience with the game so far has been really good. I was completely addicted to the game at first, and after reaching the end game, I'm honestly finding it quite pleasant to not feel pressured into playing the game. No dailies or weeklies I'm rushing to do, just a chill, play at my own pace experience. However, as an MMO enthusiast, they will absolutely have to give us a bit more to keep us sticking around for the long term. My honest opinion on this game is that it's really fun. There's just something about this game, even outside of the anime aesthetic, that just makes you want to play. It's just fun, and almost every other content creator I've spoken to behind the scenes feels the same way. I'm really hoping that AGS will give us a better monetization model, making the gacha cheaper and avoids locking the two imagines behind a paywall, and I'm really hoping that Bandai comes through and gives us more meaningful content to experience at the end game. If they can do this, then we've got an amazing game to look forward to in 2024. We'll just have to wait and see. If you guys want to stay up to date with this game, be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to be streaming this game quite a bit. Also, let me know in the comment section below if you guys would like me to review any other MMORPGs. That is what I do. I love playing MMOs, and I do plan on continuing to review any new release that we get, and I've been even thinking about reviewing some old ones, so definitely let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.